Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for today's presentation. We are at the scheduled start time, so we'll go ahead and get started. But before I introduce our presenters, I just wanted to cover a bit of housekeeping for anyone who may have just joined. If you have any questions or comments for our presenters today, feel free to direct those via the chat window or Q&A window, and we'll do our best to address any questions and comments that we have at the end of the presentation as time allows. Also, today's presentation will be recorded, so if you're looking for a link of that, either to review or to share with a colleague, keep an eye on your inbox in the days following the event for a link to that recording. So today we're going to be covering what's new in Liquidware Essentials, and we're joined by Jason E. Smith and Chris Walker, who are going to take us through today's presentation. So I think, Jason, you're going to start us off. If you want to go ahead and get us started.
I am. Thank you, Ray, and welcome everyone to the webinar. We'll be discussing several things about, and we do these, we try to do these twice a year, and we'll be looking at about 18 months worth of what's new. In some cases, this is 2 or 3 different releases in our product stack, and I'll cover the ProfileUnity and FlexApp portions of today's webinar, and Chris Walker, Georgia Texas Ranger, or Georgia Ranger. He's going to be our subject matter expert for Stratosphere. He's a field SE in the Southeast. Many of you may know him, but he also helped develop a lot of the reports that you see in Stratosphere, as his expertise and his time with us goes back under some other responsibilities many years now with Liquidware. So we're happy to have Chris Walker on with us. I'm going to remind everyone about what Liquidware is in case we have anyone new watching this, and then we'll move into what's new. We provide a full workspace lifecycle management suite, really an adaptive workspace management suite that provides for a way to manage your users and Windows workspaces and desktops, no matter which phase that you're in, whether you're planning to move to a new desktop, maybe you're thinking about new physical PCs or considering virtual desktops or cloud-based desktops. We're great there, and you'll see the solutions there and recap out of that in our next slide that can help you through that phase. Or if you're onboarding, to help you plan for those desktops, but also to give you a zero migration with user profiles, cutting the data over in the background to where users are never down, never without their desktop, or unproductive in the life cycle of your desktop transformations. And or if you're in production, our Adaptive Workspace Management Suite can be used to ensure that the desktop that you're delivering is indeed great quality user experience, or to help you grow and scale. Maybe you're adding more desktops on from the chosen platform that you're delivering, or maybe you want to manage it better with our seamless profile switchovers from OS to OS. Maybe that means that you're already been using ProfileUnity and you're switching from Windows 7 to 10, which that deadline's about to happen in just a few short weeks for extended life support. So be thinking about that, but also from a version of 10 to another version of 10, because the profiles are oftentimes different, or from the server OS version of a profile over to the desktop version. We can help you with that. So quite key in the production area too, as well as delivering applications. Our solution set is divided up into 3 areas. One for user environment management, which is ProfileUnity from Liquidware. The product name's ProfileUnity. It delivers full-featured user environment management, which is not only profile management that works with late-breaking solutions such as FSLogix from Microsoft, but also beyond that with user policy management, application rights management, privilege elevation, user authored data harvesting, and cloud staging for that. And also it helps pull together all these things under one central pane of glass. So everything for the entire user environment management. And application layering through FlexApp. Really, layering was given a bad name through some other solutions in the industry. What we do is really dynamically attach an application, a layer, if you will, and it's not coupled to the OS. So it's a different way of thinking about application delivery through a dynamic application attachment. And what it really does is serve to streamline application delivery and keep your base image management low, especially when you're looking at server-based computing solutions such as XenApp, or delivering desktops through RDS, through Windows Server 2016, 2019, and even through Microsoft WVD with multi-session Windows 10, which is also similar to a server-based computing approach. where you're minimizing the number of servers that you would have otherwise have in an organization for applications to be delivered on a departmental basis, and you're allowing FlexApp to deliver those applications and to be attached from a VHD on-prem or in the cloud to desktops as they log on or at different points of time. Our monitoring and diagnostic solution is known as Stratosphere UX, user experience. It ensures that you have a positive user experience. If you don't, it lets you diagnose and troubleshoot the user experience and really hone in by user or desktop to see exactly what's happening, so you can have very quick problem resolution lifecycle. So it's actually very helpful in the supportive process as well as help desk, and it can help you remedy and grow and scale deployments of Windows. And if you have these in place, this adaptive workspace management, it is very key, because changing your Windows desktops is going to be a never-ending cycle, whether it's going to a new version of an OS, or if you're switching from one delivery platform such as Citrix to WVD, or WVD to Citrix, or to VMware Horizon, or to Amazon Workspaces, Nutanix. There's so many options these days. If you have your users under management with Liquidware, you never have to worry about keeping all these things in a silo. The Citrix silo, a way of managing users, or the VMware silo, or the Microsoft silo. You can ensure that all these things work across all of your desktops, and you can change out the desktops in a moment's notice. ProfileUnity, again, really delivers these key things. Dynamic user profiles, they're very key in OS changes, not only Windows 7 to 10, but 10 to 10, because there's some broken profile changes among that, as well as the server versions. As I said earlier, policy management, privilege elevation, application rights management, and so much more. The full user environment management. FlexApp is key with attachment of applications. It really delivers universal app delivery. And what I mean by that is any type of Windows desktop. The only parameter there for FlexApp is that it should be a well-managed and well-connected desktop to have FlexApps play back to it from a central data point. And the purest sense of that these days is object-based storage. And we'll recap a architecture slide on our cloud-based storage and how we've evolved on that in the last 18 months. It provides applications to where they can be attached at boot time, at login time, or on a click-to-layer basis. You package applications only one time. This is where are we different than the competition, such as even something that may be included, such as Citrix app layering. Well, you package applications only one time with FlexApp, and they'll work across operating system versions almost all the time if that application supports it. You can package applications faster than you can with most any other solution on the market. And also you can use it to cache applications down to the endpoint where the next login is faster with a persistent machine. And for use cases where you can have great stability without worrying about any network hops. So here's a look at our current management console. If your management console does not at least look very similar to this, we recommend you upgrade right away. And there's some upgrade guidance available in our knowledge base. So just Google Liquidware and knowledge base, and you'll see which versions can be upgraded. Some versions that may be very old, because ProfileUnity has been a very stable product. So a lot of companies may not keep it updated or touched, because if it's not broken, don't fix it. But you want to take advantage of a lot of these new features in here. So if it doesn't look like this, you need to upgrade your system to take advantage of the latest features that we're telling you about today. What I've circled is some of the most popular features with ProfileUnity, and that is the portability of the profile, the ability to attach profile disks or create virtual disk for areas that you might want to steer off parts of the profile, your user authored data, the mapping drives and printers, modifying registry keys all the way to an HKLM, and that's another way we're different than other solutions out in the market. Very powerful, run with admin type privileges, HKLM keys, not just the user level keys. That's far more secure. Users can't undo those, and far more powerful when you can merge, exclude, or replace registry keys. We have administrative templates there that bring in ADM and ADMX templates into ProfileUnity. Folder redirections may seem basic, but we go beyond folder redirections and be able to harvest user authored data from shell folders like My Documents, pictures, things like that, and then to perform cloud staging of that type of a data to get it over to their Amazon Workdocs or Google Drive or to OneDrive or Dropbox. So you can handle user-authored data that, and we go beyond. So we harvest, synchronize in the background, user-authored data. We have trigger points in the product, as you see circled there, and that's not only then are these things accomplished and kicked off at login time or log off time, but actually during the user session too. And this helps with any and minimizes any last write wins for the profile. So where you can have a trigger point that says open up an application and also check for the latest profile save, and or open up if a user has connected to this Wi-Fi access point, automatically rerun their printer module and map printers again. So for example, in a hospital, you get the printer that's closest to a doctor automatically mapped for a user session if they've reconnected their desktop session in a different location. So location aware for all these features. So that's a look at our a quick screenshot of our latest ProfileUnity main console for the admin point of view. I want to remind you about ProfileUnity and FlexApp, some of the industry first. Why, if you're a customer already for Liquidware, why did you choose ProfileUnity and FlexApp? What innovation was that caused you to actually choose this over some standard tool in the market or something that may be siloed in the VMware or Centric stack for only one set of desktops? Well, first off, the solutions work across any type of Windows desktop, as I said earlier. So that sets us apart. We were the first to have user-authored data migration in the background to an SMB or to the cloud. That is not at log on, not at log off, but silently in the background harvesting and then given a report of that. Context-aware app deployment. So this is, for example, not only click to layer, but icons on the desktop. You can have context-aware app deployment. Integrated application rights management. Other vendors have long charged for this as a separate module. Inside ProfileUnity, you'll find privilege elevation is included. That is raising the privilege rights of a user, standard user, to be able to execute an installation of a program on a physical desktop, or maybe it's just to run an application that may need privilege elevation. And then application restrictions, application whitelist, blacklist, all these things are included with ProfileUnity user environment management. The ability to have cloud native profiles support object-based storage. This is something that we pioneered. There's no scripting involved. It writes off to any of the three major clouds. We're the first UEM on Amazon Marketplace and Azure, the Azure Marketplace. So we have pioneered in there, and this is just some of our first in our product. Likewise, for FlexApp, let's look at some of the reasons why companies have chosen this for our innovation, and we don't stop there. So you think about, why did you choose these solutions in the first place from a third party that are experts to make sure it works across all Windows deployments? In FlexApp, we have micro isolation, so you don't have to think about what types of applications do you need to package together or not, because DLL conflicts are not a thing. This is not full isolation, by the way. This helps you with packaging apps seamlessly without worrying about a chicken and the egg, which application came first or is mounted first. We resolve that with micro isolation and silently head off any conflicts in the background, and we'll head back over and pick up a DLL, for example, from the original VHD we packaged it on. Cloud native FlexApps, again, supporting object-based storage. FlexApp cache mode, being able to deliver a very stable application attachment where we cache bits of the application down to the endpoint, and this includes even non-persistent virtual desktops, where we're caching the application down so you don't have to worry so much about if you have a network hop or something like that, you lose your applications. FlexApp Cloud Apps, prepackaged apps. We have about 14 to 20 apps that are already prepackaged. You'll see a screenshot of that in a moment. I mentioned these earlier, but fast packaging, you can package things in real time. Package once, if you're not going to break your packages just by switching over to a different OS, you package them once, they work across OS. Session isolation, so you can attach an application on for example, a XenApp server or WVD desktop server or host, and be able to, each department has their own application, so the sessions are isolated where user A doesn't see what applications user B have. Now think about all those scenarios. Now you don't have to have separate servers and server farms for each department. So you're minimizing base image management, and also the first to support the marketplaces out there for cloud. So what's new lately? In April of this year, we delivered faster overall ProfileUnity execution, faster yet again. So if you have not updated and you're not on the latest versions, and even we have further updates coming in January, as you see. But if you haven't updated lately, speed alone is a reason why you need to upgrade and update to the latest version of ProfileUnity and stay on our maintenance, because we're always delivering innovation and speed enhancements. Amazon App Stream support was smoothed out. There had been some manual steps before. And now if you look forward to just a month later, we had a dot update, but it was the availability of FlexApps. FlexApps were based on logins for large apps had decreased. So we'd even sped up the delivery of FlexApps, the way they're attaching, and to the time that they're actually available on the desktop, sped up by at least 10 times. CPU and RAM consumption were greatly reduced at login by making the agent more efficient, and then support of the marketplaces. And then if we're looking forward even a month out from now, we'll talk about a little bit about what's coming here in the next few weeks. And we have a beta of this. If you want to look at getting on it sooner, just reach out and let us know. But you'll see this soon enough on January the 9th delivery. Seamless FlexApp compatibility with FSLogix. We're compatible today, but you had to use our support and the tech guys to make a couple of tweaks to ensure that we ran. But this is going to be very helpful in WVD environments, Citrix environments, anybody using FSLogix, where you want a FlexApp to run in addition to FSLogix. And as I've already stated, ProfileUnity is already compatible with FSLogix, and it adds great functionality, because then you can go between OS versions with your profile and get very granular in the way you manage your profile. You can reach out and take advantage of that admin level capture, so you can save things down the system root, system drive, things like that. We're enhancing the overall Windows 10 multi-session OS support. So again, we had supported it, but mainly as one-offs through the beta phase. Now that Microsoft is shipping, we've added some enhancements in here to make it just supported out of the box. Hourly billing for AWS. So now if you're using Amazon Workspaces, we're compatible with that scenario in the Amazon Marketplace, and you don't have to pay by the month. You can pay as little as by the hour, and that matches up with Amazon's pricing. Speed improvements, again, for the FlexApp agent. And then there's been much security hardening going on with a lot of compliance things and things developing in the industry. We worked to harden the security of our ProfileUnity clients even further. So you want to make sure that you at least put something on your schedule to make sure you upgrade in January to get all the things that you had for 6.8.3 and before. So that takes us through what's new with ProfileUnity and FlexApp. You've heard us talk a lot about cloud, but you know what? You might not be ready to go to cloud these days, and that's okay too, because we still support everything on-prem. But I did want to talk about our cloud-centric architecture, because even if you have an on-prem deployment, a physical deployment, or a virtual deployment on-prem, you can start to take advantage of the innovation in the cloud to start saving your user profiles, your user authored data, and your applications to cloud. And it can give you a lot of the things to give you, like automatic disaster recovery, because they have a lot of those things built into clouds anyway. And so you no longer have to do mirroring on-prem and things like that. You might want to think about changing your configuration for ProfileUnity to start cloud staging. This is a term that we innovated and that we're using. Start cloud staging your data for these things on object-based storage and on the file services that you see here, because ProfileUnity more seamlessly supports these services than any other ProfileUnity or layering solution on the market today. We innovated our approach here. You have credentials directly in the product. Nothing is scripted in here to where it's all user-friendly. You put in your credentials and you go. So in other words, instead of having a lot of file servers that you have to maintain, whether on-prem or in the cloud for user profiles, you can get away with that and go with object-based storage. And you can actually save your profiles to more than one place. So keep that in mind too. User logs off, maybe you still want them to save on-prem and you want them to save to object-based storage. So you can do that and be ready to cut over to a cloud-hosted storage area without going to WVD already or Amazon Workspaces or something like that, and have all these things staged and ready for the benefits of your on-prem environment today. Now, this is also going to make it easier for when you switch over, if you switch over, to a cloud-based desktop like WVD or Amazon Workspaces or Nutanix or anything like that. So the architecture is otherwise unchanged. I'll just recap that when a user logs off, their data is saved up to a storage point, in this case, object-based storage for Amazon, Google Cloud, or Microsoft Azure. No file servers to manage under that. They can immediately log on and have it restored, right, from that same location. This can greatly help you if you're doing multi-site mergers and things like that, to where you want to consolidate, was the word I was looking for, consolidate 2 sites. Chris Walker actually took a customer through a similar thing like this recently. ProfileUnity can help be the thing that is the tie that binds those environments together. And we've actually worked to even do cross-domain. Chris has done some of that lately. And ProfileUnity's strengths in there should not go unnoticed in there, in the innovation for what's new that's been achieved in that. So user authored data, we treat a little bit separately. Amazon Work Docs, Dropbox for Business, Google Drive, things like that. What we do then is we redirect user authored data to the local place on the user session, where these file services will pick up and sync. So you reach the same net effect there too for cloud stage and user authored data. So nothing's changed here. ProfileUnity gets a user under management, and that's been the same case since 2009. We did it with file servers on-prem. We did it with file servers in the cloud, but now we're supporting the latest object-based storage, and you can do it, and you can cloud stage even your on-prem environment today to have it ready to go to your next environment. Here's a quick look at FlexApp Cloud Apps. So if you've never tried FlexApp, it's easier than ever to get started. This will speed your POCs and pilots, because if you look at here in the UI, you'll notice a lot of applications are in here. The ones with the Liquidware logo, the little water drop there, the little blue water drop, those were prepackaged applications by us. You would see those in your UI, and you could immediately deploy those. And most of these are saved on Amazon S3 storage and hosted by us. And this will kick off your POC for FlexApp right away. You can give it a try without packaging your own apps. They're easy to package, but we've done some of the work for you to make your applications ready to trial out of the box. So more than 14 apps there available, and we encourage you to give that a look and give it a try. ProfileUnity's enhanced client out of 6.8, as I said, has been sped up. It's the fastest execution ever. So most customers, many customers will see significant reductions. So if you haven't updated in a while to 6.8 and forward, you want to make sure that you do that. One of the last things I'd like to show you about our update with ProfileUnity today is a quick demo. And this demo is going to be in a Windows virtual desktop environment. And again, it'll show you the power of ProfileUnity and how we've made it compatible with even late-breaking desktops. As said, you don't need to go to WVD today to take advantage of ProfileUnity. But what we're going to do is show you a WVD environment in here and how we're running with FSLogix, as you see here on the screen, and how we are seamlessly compatible with that and the attributes that that will bring to the table, running the two together. So first, we've logged in to a server, basically a server 2019 desktop. It's a server-based desktop, and it's a multi-session desktop at that. And what we're going to do is we see that this environment rather looks pretty plain and vanilla. But what we'll then do is we'll log into a session-based desktop in a second, and you'll see the profiles can go across too. So other than already being logged into Office and having Office in the base image, Office is in the base image of this, and the credentials are already validated. Other than that, there wasn't a lot of user persistency present. So we're going to activate a ProfileUnity configuration for not only FlexApp, but also get started and is very productive in day one. We're going to bring these applications in at 3 phases. At boot time for the majority of applications, at login time for user basis, and on a click to layer. So we're going to deploy these configurations to activate ProfileUnity in this environment, and you'll see how WVD is far better together in this environment when we're running with FSLogix profile containers, when we're bringing in a very flexible profile that goes across from an RDSH session to a Windows multi-user session. And because we're bringing in a lot of these applications at boot time, we are going to restart. And a restart is necessary anytime you're bringing things in at boot time. Otherwise, you could bring them in at login time and wouldn't have to restart. So now let's look at a very similar desktop in a Windows 10 multi-session. But the difference is this is going to be far more powerful and better together. The FSLogix profile container is still running. The only difference is that now ProfileUnity is also going to add to it. So we're bringing in a profile that works across the prior session into this session, and some user persistency. The user persistency being that we've logged into Office before, all that's going to stick. Look at all the applications that came in. More than 12 applications just came into the desktop that quickly, because most of them came in at boot time, but 2 applications down here came in on a click to layer basis and at login time. So you look at this Microsoft Edge Chromium browser, which is a beta type product, or was at the time that I showed this. And this is actually a quick little icon stub. Once we open up Outlook, you'll see that our credentials stuck from our previous session. And we'll open up also Notepad, and you'll see that it is a layer or an attached application. Notepad's a simple one, yes, but it loaded very quickly. Now we'll click on this icon down here, and you'll see that it actually mounted on a click to layer basis. Microsoft Edge was click to layer. It was not in the environment. Now it is in your in a WVD environment and made it far more powerful with applications brought in on a per departmental basis and also click to layer basis. This helps you manage WVD or any type of Windows deployment very easily. Now, you also see that Cisco Webex is in here, and most of you know Cisco Webex is like a plug-in for webinars like we're doing today, right? But to get fully productive with Cisco's Webex, you need to use the plugins and need to have an integrated approach to where they show up. So when they attach, you want to make sure that they're actually attached and they show up as a plugin that you can use. And look at this Meet Now icon. It's actually in Outlook, which was in the base image, as you'll remember. So fully integrated, but not isolated. So you have a better together there. And we're actually going to show how you use it just as if it were natively installed. We're going to create a meeting here, and we could do anything as if Cisco Webex was natively installed into that environment. Now, this is not the case with AppV or things that do application isolation. You might get application isolation even out of MSIX and MSIX App Attach that Microsoft's working on. It'll have its use cases, but when you're looking for fully native attached applications, there is nothing in the market that can parallel FlexApp from Liquidware. So this concludes the demo of the latest of ProfileUnity and how we look in a late-breaking environment such as even something like WVD. But you can enjoy all those same benefits in a Citrix environment, a VMware environment, no matter what you're running today. So again, how do we excel with ProfileUnity over platform tools? This goes back to, why did you choose us in the first place if you're an existing customer, or why would you choose us? You can really unchain and decouple user environment management from the user and from the desktop, no matter what platform you're running. And if you're running multiple desktops, such as Citrix and VMware and others, we do that across the board. You don't have siloed solutions. Multiple OS support across the board. So when we're better together with FSLogix, for example, that's because we can remedy Windows 7 to 10, 10 to a different version of 10, multi-session 10, server versions, things like that, where you have one profile and one profile set of settings and not several profiles that are disconnected. And you can get far more powerful, and you can do includes and excludes and do things all the way down to system root or system drive. We include powerful features like application rights management, privilege elevation, seamless cloud support. FlexApp layering is integrated into our UEM, role-based access for large organizations, And again, one console for everything to manage your users in Windows and even across Citrix, VMware, and others, where you pull things together and have an adaptive environment management instead of a siloed environment management. FlexApp likewise has several reasons why you may have chosen it, and I've mentioned some of these, but I'll recap really quick. We focus on application layering, not OS patching, so therefore you can attach just an application. It's a package once, so you don't have to repackage it. It doesn't break anything when you change OS versions. And you may have seen that out of other layering approaches that have given the market a bad name for layering. That's not the case with FlexApp. Fast packaging, same time it takes you to install an app, session isolation, no load balancers, so very simple there. Cloud support, as you've seen, and very innovative features like click to layer, micro isolation, and you can mix and match VHDs and VMDKs. So that was a recap of what's new with FlexApp, ProfileUnity, and it was a reminder of why you may have chosen us or why you want to choose us above and beyond siloed solutions that might be just in your Citrix or VMware or other deployments, something to run across all Windows desktops. Chris Walker is now going to chime in, pick up the Stratosphere part. What's new in Stratosphere? Chris?
All right. Thanks, Jason. So Stratosphere UX, as we're talking to different customers, they want to call us and put us in the monitoring space or different spaces. We think of Stratosphere really as a diagnostic solution. So give me the ability to drill down into the nth degree of what's going on with the protocol or the hypervisor and across that user, and then rank the user with what we call a UX score or user experience score. Performing validations, what's going on in the environment. We even use it to test and optimize our ProfileUnity and our FlexApp technology. So how long did this individual module run during the login process or at boot time? So Stratosphere actually we use internally to look at our internal applications, how long things are running, and optimize our own internal solutions. As of October 2019, this year, we released Stratosphere UX 6.14. This brings in some new client supports, so official supports for Windows WVD, 10-zig clients as well. We actually support multiple different endpoint type devices, not just Windows, Mac, Linux systems. This also brings in 6.14 Amazon Marketplace hourly billing technology. So the same thing with ProfileUnity, where I can bill. So my user only logs in, 1 hour a day. Through the marketplace, you would get a bill for Stratosphere for that user for 1 hour. Not to mention as well, our licensing technology back around the middle or beginning of this year for ProfileUnity and Stratosphere both, we now support concurrent user models. So named user, concurrent user in the Amazon Marketplace, even down to the hourly billing for a user. 6.14 just released as well. The appliance can now be deployed in an Azure cloud. So previously we were supporting Amazon Cloud, VMware on-site, Hyper-V, Zen Server. We had Amazon for a couple of years. Now we have a full Azure appliance that we can deploy directly in the in the Azure Marketplace. Upgrades to our wildly popular optimizer technology, giving me the ability to granular control, kill processes, raise processes that may be hurting that particular user. Dashboards enhancements, some stability control, import, export. I'm going to get into more of that in just a minute. The advanced inspectors have been updated to add in even more metrics. One of the things we've never been, no one's ever told us is you don't have enough metrics. We're adding in more metrics for like our Azure customers where they're running RDP or RFX protocols. I need to know the protocol latency and things like that in the advanced inspectors. The spot check tabs has actually been around for a while, but we've updated this, added more metrics and some more import export capabilities to enhance this feature. Security updates, as always, to support our military customers, our banking customers. Stay at the latest in the Linux appliance because this is a hardened Linux machine, and then some bug fixes around the UI and other interface issues. So step one, dashboards. Our customers, love our data. We have a huge amount of it. with a lot of advanced inspectors, allow you to drill down into the nth degree, CPU queue, memory, disk, network, protocol, everything. But they've been asking for, give me the ability to bubble this data up. So our dashboard builder now is drag and drop technology built in the system. You have access to all of the metrics inside of Stratosphere and can build some pretty creative dashboards around business processes. I built one the other day for an accounting application where we were monitoring the servers, the connection points, and everything related to that particular application to just something simple like the last time a machine was booted. So you can build these dashboards and bubble them up by machine groups, user groups, however you want to, do a search, or drill down directly into the data. Notice the bottom right-hand corner, import and export. So on our community site, I and other SEs are going to be building dashboards and actually publishing them onto the community site, along with some of our customers, of things that they found useful. And then you will be able to download those and put those directly into your dashboard as necessary too.
And you wanted me to remind people about that. We're doing the same thing for ProfileUnity, and the community site is something key you've been involved in. So thanks for that reminder. But for ProfileUnity, you can do a lot of these exports and imports of configurations. So you get the ideal configuration and you can share it with the community. You can also share ways to package up applications, and it's a very useful site.
Yep, portability rules, like an update for ProfileUnity. Google Chrome comes out with a new feature, has a new directory, a lot of information in there. It's bloating my profile. We're going to post a new portability rule for Google Chrome onto our website. You just download it, drop it into ProfileUnity, and say go. Spot checks tab. So this has been around for a little while. I think it came out in 6.12. Recently updated 172 metrics that you can basically pick and assign your metrics that you're interested in, assign the individual thresholds that you want for those particular metrics, hit go, and you can save these. So these are like kind of like a report writer. So you can define stuff like some of the things that David's built in here, or Tom Miller, top elevated processes. So I'm running Stratosphere across my environment, and I need to know how many people are elevating their processes. Very important. That's a security risk. Baselines. Somebody earlier in one of our demo systems had defined how much time are people doing on YouTube. So you can, with a huge amount of 172 different metrics, you can get very specific about what you're looking for, and literally just come in here, click go. Later this year or next year, we're going to look at automating this as well. But today, this is a very good way to, instead of going through every tab in the Inspector tab and trying to drill down across all those tabs in the Inspector tab, I can build my query here very quickly, pick my thresholds based on industry standards or what I'm after, potentially just a domain, and hit the go button and save that for later use by me or one of my counterparts. Process Optimizer. This is very popular product with or feature inside of Stratosphere that allows us to optimize applications and the user experience. Very non-intrusive to the system. Physical, virtual, cloud, doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, this helps me to wrangle in some of those bad actors in the environment. Let's take Google Chrome for a minute. I'm doing my work. I'm on the VDI system, looking at, and I'm watching CNN. Something's breaking, or Fox or whoever you like to watch. Pick your poison. And I'm watching a live stream video. All of a sudden, I need to flip over and go into Outlook or Word and start doing some my work based on what's on the news. Optimizer, because Chrome is sitting in the background, still chewing up a huge amount of CPU and memory on that particular machine, and affecting my foreground application. Optimizer will actually lower the CPU of that base priority of that process and raise my foreground process so that my foreground process is very interactive. So Chrome can't hurt me in the background, or even in worst case, a Microsoft update. Patch Tuesday comes along. My laptop gets very slow because it's downloading all these patches from Microsoft, and I'm trying to do my work. We will actually push that process down and lower its thread priority so that my foreground processes don't get affected. New features in 6.1.4 give you the ability to actually terminate processes. So here in our demo system, somebody decided we're going to terminate Candy Crush, the Google Chrome software reporter tool, Xbox Live. It will not run on the machines that Optimizer is turned on for those devices. So it gives me a lot of granular control. I can exclude processes that I don't want to, to be affected by Optimizer, because some things you just don't want to optimize. So some really cool features, advanced reporting to give me more features of what's going on inside of Optimizer as well. Now, this actually came out in 6.1.3, but is a very powerful tool in moving us more toward what we term the APM space, application performance monitoring. So it gets down to the process level and even allows me to track network traffic per process. So this process was talking to this remote IP. This was the latency, the jitter on the line. This is moving us into the APM, application performance monitoring space, getting very detailed into individual processes, their latency, the jitter on the line. We used this just a couple weeks ago at a customer to determine, this application, this thick application that was running on a workstation, talking to a SQL server. What was the latency from that app to that SQL server based on the protocol? Very powerful stuff here to get you into those, networking issues or process details. So other guest support, Windows Server 2019, fully supported now. Windows 10 multi-session WD, 10-zig, Amazon Linux distributions, the ability to capture and report on users and idle sessions. This has actually been around a while, but I wanted to list it one more time because I have a lot of customers that have offshore contractors. Those contractors will connect into your system. They'll be logged in for 8 hours, and then we actually have session idle metrics that a lot of our customers are using to report back to their provider. Say, look, this guy was logged in for 8 hours, but he didn't move the mouse or the keyboard for 8 hours. He was idle 95% of the time. Very powerful for helping you, actually monitor those remote contractors, make sure they're doing their job. RDP, RFX session latency information we talked about earlier. So Stratosphere UX excels, over the platform tools out there. It's not monitoring. It's got APM capabilities, everything from what data store was Jason Smith running on last month. So when Jason Smith attached to my VDI system, what ESX server was he on? What data store was he running on? What applications was he running? What applications are installed on his machine versus what he used? We're running into use cases where customers are actually using Stratosphere data to inventory their infrastructure. Say, hey, I've got 5,000 copies of Visio out there and nobody's using it. Let me go reclaim those licenses. So a lot of different use cases for the data, well beyond diagnostics, even just asset recovery. I forgot to mention the Optimizer. In Optimizer, for our physical customers, it's actually extending the life of their physical machines. So they can push out their refresh cycles 6 months, sometimes up to 18 months in the field, because Optimizer is making that foreground application run so much better and lowering the background noise that's affecting that user. So Jason, you want to wrap up with this, with the support stuff?
Yes, thanks, Chris. And you've been very key in the support in the support of the forum, a separate thing. But we've updated to increase support options in the last 12 months. We covered this on some of the last what's new, but it's worth recapping again because that's been over the last year. Live support has extended hours across EMEA. So most of Europe and Middle East Asia have extended hours, and this supports them to basic support options for all the customers across those regions. 24/7 support options remain available as they do for enhanced packages when you renew, or even before you renew. If you need options for that, let us know and we can give you those options as well. Our satisfaction rating for the last 18 months has been at the 99% level, and as we've grown for Liquidware to keep our response times quick, we have also added support staff. I'm usually working out of the Atlanta office, but today I'm actually working out of the Chicago area office where a lot of our support staff are, and I met several of these people today, a talented bunch here. And if you've confronted or been involved with our support staff for any request before, you've likely had a very good experience, given the fact that we monitor this very closely. And these are real quotes from our customers that you see on this page. So take a glance at those. I won't read those, but we literally get accolades on our support daily. If we can help you in any way, always reach out and let us know directly at support. You can just email us at support@liquidware.com. Chris, would you like to tell people how they can join the forum and access that?
Yeah, I think it's actually on the next page. So yeah, we've got a new community site, came online about 4 months ago. It's been very active. Our SEs, customers, partners have been posting information up here. So community.liquidware.com. This is where we're also tracking now our feature request. We used to track it on a different site, so this is a little more visible, gives you the ability to vote. So we've got a lot of really good feature requests from customers, some of which we've already applied and put into the products. So as we apply them, those basically disappear off the community site because it's basically completed at that point. My spot check documents are up here for Stratosphere. A lot of good information, but the SEs and our customers are posting data up here, questions, comments, dashboards, portability rules, some really good data up here on the community site. I recommend browsing the site, log in, leave us a comment. So,
great. Thanks. At this time, I'm going to look to see if there's any Q&A questions that have come in. And if you want to submit any of those, feel free to submit any to the session. I guess I turned on my camera real quick, but Ray, I want to ask Ray Swanson if he's seen any questions come in. I see one while Ray's looking through those. I see one. I see you mentioned Tenzig and an agent for Tenzig. I also saw a couple of weeks ago some integration with iGel mentioned. What's that about? So that's a good question. A week ago or a week and a half ago, we announced that iGel had actually done some work on their end to include the Stratosphere Agent in their UI for their Edge OS support. And we had built that agent going back a couple of years ago, where it was purpose-built so you can manage the very edge device there, the thin client or the repurposed PC, so you can see metrics on your entire end-to-end Stratosphere metrics there for your Windows session. And iGel's made it even easier by allowing you to deploy that agent from within their Edge OS. So we're happy for that integration to take place, although it was technically the agent was available even going back 2 years prior, and we've kept it updated to where we not only have a purpose-built agent, as you mentioned, for Tenzig, but for iGel as well. Ray, do you see any other questions?
Yeah, let's see. There's one here that says, are there performance issues running FlexApp Vhds in blob storage as opposed to block storage?
Yeah, that is a good question. So your fastest performance is still going to be slightly better on-prem storage on average, but what we've seen is in some cases only milliseconds difference. So the benefit, you'll have to do your own tests and see what your experience is, but only milliseconds difference in hosting it on blob storage through object-based storage. It's a great option to have, obviously. And Chris, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, well, don't forget we do caching. So with, if you're doing it across a low-speed link or things like that, we actually cache the blocks down locally to the machine. So the first launch, where we're spooling down those bits to the local machine, may be a little bit slow, but any launch after that would be coming directly from the local hard drive.
Yeah, and where you'll
we
get
also have failover capabilities too. So you can actually fail over from one system or one connection to another connection to another connection, and it will actually load balance and find the fastest connection that you've configured that FlexApp to come from.
Right. Where you'll see the biggest benefit of that caching is in a server-based computing environment like a XenApp environment or RDSH environment or Windows 10 multi-session environment. Because you're dealing with a server there where the application actually, it's not a really non-persistent machine, right? And so it's caching down to an endpoint. If you go to non-persistent VDI, you'd see benefits out of caching because it's going to give you the ability to not worry about a network hop, but it's going to cache that app down at every session because it's non-persistent VDI. Any other questions?
Yeah, here's one. Someone asked, if I had some ProfileUnity licenses but would like to bundle those with FlexApp, how do I go about doing that?
Yes, that is a good question. The two products, you want to usually license them together. Most customers do. There's two ways that you can go about doing that. You can have a separate deployment because if it's enabled with a license key. You can have a separate deployment for your FlexApp and ProfileUnity customers and just basically keep that a siloed environment. You can share the configurations, import and export, so you don't have to recreate the wheel, but keep it separate because it's going to be a license separate. So those sets of desktops have access to everything, and maybe your ProfileUnity only desktops, you keep that deployment, again, separate. That's the main way to do it. If you want to license it for all your users, you can upgrade for all your users. We can cut a new license key for you and get you started that way.
Here's another question. How does the solution work with disconnected offline machines like laptops?
So all three of our adaptive workspace management solutions are compatible with laptops. That said, the best laptop for us to manage is for a person that is most of the time in the office. A regional sales rep, for example, that goes out for a few days a month or travels, and then they're back in, so they sync back up. Okay, there is an additional qualifier there is that FlexApp is not designed for a non-connected machine. So FlexApp at this time would be for applications that you access while you're in the office. We are working on, with our caching technology, the ability to ensure that the FlexApp is fully cached on a laptop and can be taken offline, but that is not yet available from us. So that is that's the truth in advertising. The FlexApp portion for a laptop, you would see less benefits. The other challenge that might come in for ProfileUnity, for example, is the profile and access. You want to always have access to user authored data, right? So there are ways to do that as well. The profile, when it's brought down to a laptop, is indeed on that laptop in its native location, and when it gets back to the office and authenticates on the AD, it again syncs up. That's another good reason why it's laptops for us to manage with our solution suite, or at least attached part of the time, because you want them to sync up from time to time. And then user authored data, you can do some things like a continuous redirect of data without a continuous sync of data rather, without totally redirecting the folder. That way you could have user authored data for my documents be local and also redirected to a file share or to a cloud service. So you could have them in two places to get around that. So there's a few things that you want to talk with us about for your laptop use cases. Any other questions, Ray? Ray?
So I'm not seeing anything right now. I don't know if there's anyone that reached out to you guys directly, but that's all I see right now.
Let me check my window before we wrap and see. I've got the same ones that you had, so it looks like that we're good.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Jason and Chris, for bringing us through today's presentation. I know it's always great to get an update on what's going on here. So if you guys have any other further questions or comments, check out that community website. That's a great place to interact, get questions or things that maybe pop up that you hadn't thought about. Again, we are recording this session and we'll make that available to you via email. So keep your eye on the inbox. And again, thank you, Jason and Chris, for taking us through today's presentation.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, have a good day.